conference which is called PiterPy. It's a Python conference at Sankt-Petersburg, Russia. Here I have our guests. May I say our headliner, providing keynote, Hynek. Could you please introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh, right. So I'm Hynek Schlawack, and I'm here for the third time, which I'm very happy about. This is one of my favorite conferences because it's such a nice bridge between the West and Russia, and it's very heartwarming.
That's sort of an inner joke because heartwarming is how we brand PiterPy.
Yeah, it's the tagline of the conference.
Yeah.
And, you are achieving grades there. Yeah, I mean, professionally I've been programming Python for 10 years now, and I do mostly infrastructure work.
Are you a core developer by now?
I am a core developer since 2011 or something, but I've been mostly dormant in the past years, at least with active code contributions, because I'm way too busy with my own open source projects. There's only so much time you have in a day. So
Athers, I guess.
Yes, Athers is one of the biggest ones. Trucklog is another big one, which takes a lot of time, and then some other smaller ones, which I have too. So
can I ask you, just go ahead and ask you about your maybe most famous project or like Athers?
That's definitely Athers, yeah.
Yes, and how was it started?
Well, it started as a part of another project, which is called Service Identity, which is for having hostname verification for PyOpenSSL applications, because there was no library like that in there before, so I had to write it. Then I wanted to do it cleanly with nice classes and everything, so I wrote a little framework to create classes, and then I extracted later, and it is what became my older project called Characteristic. Characteristic got some popularity, has been used in production, but the name was kind of long and hard to type, and there was a few things I didn't like. So eventually I spent a few hours chatting with Glyph, the founder of Twisted, and we just tried to reimagine the API in a way that works better, that is more pragmatic, that's it's easier to type, easier to use, and that's how Athers was born. And yeah, now it's pretty big. It has.
What's its current status and the current plans for Athers?
Well, there's one thing. So Athers uses.
They merged it to the major release of Python, right? Or no?
Not quite. So 2 years ago, I got an email from Guido van Rossum asking me to meet up with him and Eric Smith to talk about the possible inclusion of Athers into the standard library. But it was pretty clear from the beginning that that's not going to happen in that form, and that they will instead write something similar on their own, which became data classes. But I have been involved with the project from the beginning, and I'm also took part in the design of the library. So people sometimes try to like instigate a war between Athers and data classes, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I've been involved with both. And while of course Athers is, in my opinion, the better one, the more powerful one, I have no ill feelings towards data classes.
So you're not fighting data classes?
No, not at all. I mean, I helped them to create it. So, and the plan, like one big plan.
What is the one major difference maybe between these two?
Athers has quite a bit of features, and there's when you go to the documentation of Athers, there's a whole paragraph called "Why Not Data Classes," which I the same way say, just use them if they're fine for you. But we have these extra features, converters, validators, some more advanced features, and yeah, it really depends what you need or what version you need to run. So just today I learned that Athers is in the orbit on a satellite because they have to use Python 3.4.
I see you've talked with other speakers.
Yes, that was of course very heartwarming again. Yeah, you asked me about the plans.
The level of heartwarming.
Yes, it's just my heart is cooking. It's boiling. So there's one big plan we have with Athers right now, and as you may know, it uses a namespace called Ather and then you just append little shortages at this. And that's because address used to have a much smaller scope, and it grew over the years. More people started using it, added more features, and it doesn't make any sense anymore to use address as a namespace. So what we plan, one of the biggest projects right now is to introduce an address namespace, address package, without breaking the old one. It's going to be a new thing with new names. So for example, people who did not like the cutesy ether.s and ether.ip will be able to use different names. We will use different defaults for certain things that we cannot change because of backwards compatibility reasons, but which make more sense now. So yeah, that's the one thing people can look forward to.
How do you feel about new assigning operator and Guido leaving?
I think you know my my opinion on that. You mean PEP 572, right?
I think we had an argument with you on Twitter previously, but I don't remember how it ended.
I'm pretty sure I won.
Yeah.
So
you have more followers.
Yes. So there's the future of Python, yeah. So funnily enough, just today Lynn showed me an article on some very prestigious website which said that Python is the most popular language right now, with some caveats, but that's how it is. So the state of Python in a way is really good, I guess. That doesn't mean that it's good for me or good for someone who used to do certain things with Python before. And yeah, so there's a certain parts of Python that are dying out, which hurts me. Like in the operations side, we still have Ansible, we still have OpenStack, but everything in this space is usually moving to Go, which is unfortunate for me because I really like Python. But other than that, it seems to be working great. I mean,
and with Guido leaving.
Yeah. So
how do you feel about that?
I think it was about time for him to get his deserved rest, because he has been running the project for many years, and you could tell that he was growing tired and testy by it, because it's not an easy job. Because the bigger Python becomes, the more people get angry at you for whatever decision you make. There will always be, at this point, millions of people who hate you for that, which was, as by the example, assignment operator, which was basically the worst hate wave he ever probably got. It's why I
was one of the haters.
Yeah, you were wrong. No, it's yeah. So did we convince you? Because I remember Sergio was against it too, but then he changed his mind.
No, actually, I've convinced myself after I read all through emails, including Guido's, and I've understood deeply that my concerns is not really an objective real concerns. So every one of them was destroyed by reading this.
There you go. So for me, this is literally my biggest annoyance with Python, is this construct if you're writing x equals some function result, and then if x something. So I'm personally very happy that I do this. So it's one of my favorite features of Python 3.8. I'm just very sad about what Guido had to go through because of that, because it was not.
Well, there was a lot of politics, especially with that one.
Yeah, I think people got a bit angry because Guido kind of sidestepped the whole process. He didn't work through to build consensus. He did it later, so the PEP has been amended. So I think that's the reason why your concerns were destroyed, because it got updated with exactly all those concerns. But yeah, it was not pretty. But back to your question, it's hard to say if it's good or bad. Guido has been keeping his hands mostly off in the past years because there's just so much going on, and his role often was just to tell people to chill out, or to do this final verdict, or to assign people to PEPs to be responsible for a topic.
As a code developer, maybe you could explain our listeners what are the current states. So they're like three leading figures right now instead of Guido, or
no? So
who are they?
That has not been decided yet. So right now
it's not decided yet.
There is a number of PEPs being written, which suggests different approaches on how to proceed after Guido is gone. Well, he is gone, so how to proceed with the project. One of them is to elect another BDFL that has been proposed by...
Now, but nobody has the same level of trust and authority, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we elect one, he or she or they would have that level of trust. But my personal opinion is, and that was my feedback to it, is that it's too much responsibility for one person who did not invent the language.
I would vote for lean route.
I don't know if she wants to, if she would appreciate that. Then there are various PEPs that suggest various levels of, like one is, I think, community voting. One is to have a bunch of elders who are elected. Yeah, if you're really interested into this, these PEPs all start with 8,000. So everybody can read up what's going on there right now. It's you can find them and the discussion suite on the new forum that Python Core is trying out right now, which is at discuss.python.org. And yeah, there's a read-only part which is currently used to discuss this kind of things. And yeah, we will see.
So could you elaborate? If I'm correct, right now nobody can accept or decline the PEP because there's no Guido.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, right now there is a power vacuum, and people already said that 3.8 will probably have less new shiny things because of that. Because we have to figure out first how we are gonna go for.
Okay, that's an interesting period, I guess. And speaking of this conference, you said that you've been there 3 times out of 5, I guess. We did it like 5 times.
Yeah, I've been.
Also, your count is equals to my count because I also did 3 out of 5.
I did 2, 3, and 5.
So this is probably the highest highest number amongst all the people, I guess. How do you feel about maybe evolution or regress of PiterPy? The changes through the last one, the next one.
The obvious biggest difference is that this is happening together with Linux Peter, so it feels much bigger, everything.
But because we're running 2 conferences in parallel, PiterPy and Linux Peter.
Yes, and but other than that, the feeling is still the same. It feels a small, nice conference where everybody is really friendly and everybody speaks English because you force them to.
I can tell you from the organizer side that the English is becoming more strict and valuable because each conference is more English, actually, from both sides, from the sides of the members of organization team and from the sides of the guests. And this year we finally, I guess this is the first year when we had guests from the Europe. Like they really came, bought the tickets and fly to Russia to be a guest.
Like attendees, not just speakers.
Before it was just speakers, yeah.
Wow.
I think this is a breakthrough,
nice, yeah. So I have everything feels a bit more professional. You can tell that people have been doing it a few times now. Yeah.
And as a headliner, you gave a keynote yesterday. How was it? How did it felt?
It felt good. Like the people seem to be really engaged and interested in what you say here. But it has been always like this, and it's always nice to be here. That's why I'm coming back.
Well, thank you. It was DevTalk at PiterPy.